One of the videos that came out of the terrible riots in Baltimore this week was that of a mother who identified her child as being one of the rioters, and she grabbed a hold of him and she started hitting him, and told him he had no business being there, and ultimately schlepped him home. And there were a number of commentators who suggested that years from now, the likelihood is that this child will turn around and thank his mother for what she did, even though at the moment he was terribly embarrassed, naturally, in front of all these people, as here he was being hit by his mother in public. The Torah tells us in our parsha that the mitzvah of tochacha, the mitzvah of rebuke, is an important one. It's a critical one. That if we see someone doing something which potentially cause harm or danger to themselves or to someone else, we need to stop them so that they don't sin and don't cause others to sin. Yet, at the same time, the beginning of that pasuk says, Lo sisna es achicha bilvavecha, that there is a prohibition from hating our brother, our fellow Jew, bilvavecha, in our hearts. So what's the connection with the beginning of the pasuk, of the prohibition to hate someone, with the end of the pasuk, which is that the obligation to rebuke someone? If we see someone doing something which is not correct, what are we going to do? Are we going to rebuke them? Are we going to rebuke them from a place of hatred because we hate what they're doing? Or are we going to rebuke them and stop them from sinning from a place of love? So the Avnei Ezel explains that when a parent gives a child rebuke, when a parent tells a child they shouldn't be doing something, at that moment the child doesn't understand why the parent is doing what they are doing. But after a while, when the child calms down, the child understands and knows that the parent ultimately loves them. And the fact that the parent is rebuking them is because the parent loves them. And the parent doesn't want to see the child make a mistake that will cause them suffering down the line. And so the child knows that the rebuke that's coming from the parent is coming from a place of love. And that's the message that HaKadosh Baruch Hu, that God is trying to share with us. That when it comes to us giving rebuke of someone else, telling someone that they're doing something wrong, pointing out to someone that they shouldn't be acting in a certain way, we need to make sure that we're coming from a place of love and not, God forbid, from a place of sinna, from a place of dislike, from a place of, God forbid, anger that we have toward a person. There are times that as human beings we see someone doing something, we become angry, we become frustrated, we hate their actions, and therefore we are quick to criticize them. The reason why both of these mitzvos are in the same pasuk is because the Torah wants to teach us that in order to truly give tochacha, in order to really give rebuke, it has to come from a place of love. And the person who is receiving the rebuke needs to feel that the person who is pointing that thing out to them is doing so because they care about them, not because they want to hurt them or embarrass them. This is a very important lesson for us in our lives when it comes to so many different interactions that we have. If we really truly care about an individual, we'll be sensitive to how we point things out to them, how we make sure they get the message, and how sensitive we are to them understanding that we are coming from a position of care and love. And if we are not comfortable that they understand that we are coming from that position, then ultimately the mitzvah of tochacha in that case wouldn't be a mitzvah, but would really be an avera. Let's make sure that we avoid the avera of sin'ah and we fulfill the mitzvah of tochacha coming from a place of love, sincerity, and caring for our fellow Jews. Thank you for listening. Have a good Shabbos.